So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into Dudley Town and we're going to just ask people on the street what they know about the big issue.
But like I say, I've never had much to do with it.
It's daylight robbery.
Right.
He's a Tory lord. He's obviously a millionaire. He sells it for £2.50, and I don't know what the big issue people get from it, but probably £1, £1.50.
Today we've come to Birmingham to one of the offices of the big issue, and we're going to have an interview and see how they think their magazine helps the homeless and answer hopefully some of the questions about the controversy that's behind them.
Kaylin. So, in 1991, Anita Roderick was on holiday, the lady who set up the Body Shop. Her and her husband Gordon were on holiday in New York, I think it was, or a business in New York, and they had seen the idea of a street newspaper. And they thought about a way that they could, maybe bring that over to the UK, because there's a big homeless problem within the UK at that point, specifically in London, and they thought their friend John would be able to help them out. And now, all those years later, the person, John Bird, now Lord Bird, set up the Big Issue magazine in 1991, and it's been running for those 27 years. And that's how it all kind of started off really. The idea was from America, and they brought the idea over. The whole idea kind of spread across the UK through franchisees to start off with. So individuals moved from London, if they're based in London, some of them being vendors, moved elsewhere. So the person who actually runs our Oxford office, it used to be a vendor in London and moved up from London to Oxford to start up the Big Issue in Oxford.
Does it still hold that impact in society as it used to?
I think it's interesting because the last 3 years in a row, I think it is, we've had increase in sales, and which is pretty impressive considering that we're in a dying kind of media form. Not many people buy magazines anymore, but we're one of the few magazines to actually have year-on-year increased sales. The interesting thing is it is a dying format of kind of like media, but I think the thing is we've got a unique selling point, so USP of the vendor network. So therefore, a lot of people want to support people who are either vulnerably housed or homeless in a way that they know is a direct benefit for the individual. I think from our point of view, somebody selling a product to somebody else means that there is a positivity and there is hopefully an employability outcome. If you're buying a magazine, we can guarantee that half of the money that you're buying the magazine, currently at £2.50, that £1.25 goes directly to the vendor.
That's all well and good, but what about the comments we heard in Dudley about where the money goes?
What's your take kind of on that?
So the way that it works is we're a not-for-profit company, so any profits that we make from the Big Issue company go to the Big Issue Foundation. So the foundation is a charity which is funded through lots of different ways. People doing marathons or skydiving don't really offer anything more than the magazine really, apart from ESOL lessons as we discussed. So if anybody wants to get access to housing, or if they want to go into rehab, or if they need mental health support, or if they want to get a passport, if they want to go on a college course. I mean, I've always said about people saying that they don't buy the Big Issue, it doesn't really bother me that much.
This isn't the only controversy. In 2012, the Daily Mail claimed that 1/3 of the Big Issue sellers were Romanian.
Obviously, I don't mean no disrespect, but we've come in and obviously they're learning English and stuff, so that's quite surprising. Is this true?
EU works and the EU's grown. Obviously, there's freedom of movement within the EU, which you can debate the pros and cons of that till the cows come home. Some people have moved across. They've started off. Some people have come across with a job, therefore they've lost that job, and then they need somewhere to work. Some people have come across without a job, and so therefore some people have come through our doors. I wouldn't say that the ethos has changed behind the organisation. To a certain extent, it's always been about reducing poverty, helping homeless people and vulnerably housed people.
After our interview, I asked if I could experience what a vendor's job is like. They agreed and quickly signed me on. Pretend I'm just someone who's come off the street, I've heard about the big issue and I want to become a vendor.
Okay, we'd go through forms like induction forms and assessments, and you'd get your badge today, kind of thing, to go and badge out.
Does the vendor agreement, so every vendor that you see on the streets has signed this and agreed with it. Only sell the current copy of the Big Issue magazine for the cover price. Clearly display valid Big Issue identification at all times when selling. Only sell unauthorised Big Issue pictures. Ensure that you don't appear under the influence of substance.
Been granted this pitch for a short amount of time to sell the Big Issue, to get a first-hand experience of it.
Batch number 75, there's your magazines. At £2.50 each.
£2.50, okay.
Yeah. So all you got to do is, it varies, you know, but a good idea is just say good morning to everybody that comes past. Good morning, Big Issue. Good morning. Keep a smile on your face and a spring in your step. And see how you get on.
Okay.
Okay.
Morning, Big Issue. Morning, Big Issue. You kind of blend in, you become a part of the street. So I can see why a lot of vendors have a lot of magazines and have trouble selling them.
Eye contact is one. Yeah, always eye contact.
Eye contact, yeah.
Even if they say to you F off, you say thank you, have a nice day.
Okay.
Shoes, P's and Q's. And just always have a smile.
So just be polite and
Be polite, use your manners and just show everyone you're ready.
At least no one's told me to
George is doing well. He's asking everybody that goes past, which is the way. He's being friendly, not too imposing, and couldn't be doing any better really.
This is a 15, 17-hour job here on the street handing these out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll only make £25 a day. Some days I'll do a 17-hour shift and I can make a tenner. It all averages on how many people buy the magazines.
After a while, you build a bit of a rapport with people. Okay.
And then you just start getting your regulars. And your regulars sometimes give you the money and don't take the magazine. Yeah.
How do you cope with the cold and stuff then? Do you just accept it as
Just
part of the job?
Yeah. Just have loads of coffees in there. Keep yourself warm. Come out in loads of layers.
And just carry on.
And just carry on, yeah.
You become a chameleon. It's the only way I can describe it. You become just a part of the street. I was quite fortunate. No one told me to go F myself or anything like that. But I can imagine after you're doing this for a long time, you get quite a lot of abuse held at you.
Michael says he has people telling people spit at him.
Oh,
Tell him to F off and all sorts of things. As long as, as well as people being very nice and friendly. And like I said, he's got lots of regulars and I look forward to seeing him every week. And so he's going to take the rough with the smooth, I think. Yeah. Have the right attitude to do that, really. It's not easy. It's not an easy option.
Personally, I couldn't do that. For a job, as a career like that, I couldn't do that. So I do honestly take my hat off to him.
After being a vendor, I had really mixed emotions. It gave the homeless a chance to make a living, but I still wasn't convinced. Some of the business practices seemed a bit odd to me.
I feel sorry for the vendors. They don't have an easy job. The business stuff of it, though, I don't know. I just don't know.